Hello, my name is Linda Bobbitt, and I'm here to show you a little bit more about the Congregational Vitality Project and how it can be a resource to your congregation. I'm going to give you a tour of the site real quickly and encourage you to follow along here. So first, let me share you my screen. This is the home page where you are now. And there's a couple different things for you to notice. We're going to go through the process of signing in your congregation and taking a brief survey that focuses your congregation on how it connects with God, each other, and the world. We're focusing on those things because we are trying to change the conversation to be one about mission rather than just one about, I don't know, how many people show up and how much money they give. We're really wanting to focus on the Great Commandment and the Great Commission, which is what all of us are really called to do as Christians and also as congregations. So there are a few different resources for you. The questions themselves you can see on the resource page, which is up here. There's a few different ways to look at the questions. Right here is the simple survey questions that you could get as a one-page paper, and you can hand it out in your congregation to the members. Whoever shows up, they can fill this in, and then you can hand enter these responses later on. There's also another form called the Annual or Parochial Report Discussion Guide. Here, it's the same questions, but on the second page, it's actually a guide to help you talk about how you answered these questions, because inevitably, when you get a group of people together, they're going to have different experiences of the congregation. So this helps you think through how you're connecting with God, each other, and the world, and how each of you experience that happening in your congregation. So you can choose the form that makes the most sense to you, or you can simply do the entire survey online, but either of these are resources for you. So let's go back to the home page. Okay, here we go. Now, if you're an ELCA congregation, part of the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, you can sign in here using the same information you use to do your annual report. So it's your congregation's identification number and an 8-digit password. I'm going to do this with my dummy congregation. And when I sign in, I'll see my congregation up here, and really not a lot of other information. This is my past requests for surveys and other reports, which of course I've done a sample before. You'll also see on the right-hand side some instructions for the different ways you can take the survey. You can do it all online. You can do it paper, like I just showed you. There's those 2 paper forms, and then manually enter them. If you want a bubble sheet for people to fill out instead of having to manually enter, have a computer enter them, you can contact me and we can get you set up with that, but there is a charge for that. Okay, back here under request survey, all the surveys start the same way. Go ahead and fill out this form with your information. Who are you? In my case, I'm going to pretend to be a staff person. When do I want to take the survey? I don't know. How about today? How did I find out about the survey? My bishop told me. I'm just curious about vitality, and then I click submit. Now, once I click submit, I now see there's a link here. You can use this link right up here in the URL and send it out to your council members or whoever else you want to take the survey, and they can complete the survey just like I'm about to here. In fact, let's go ahead and fill it out. So hopefully you will give a lot of thought to each of these answers, but you'll see it's pretty short and straightforward. You do need to answer all of the questions. And so then a little bit about who I am. Oops, got that. Okay, now let's say I'm a council member. And I will hit submit. Now, when I'm done, I'm done. If you've handed out the paper copy and you have a pile of them and you need to enter another one, you go ahead and submit another response. But at some point, you'll be all done. When I do that, I'll come down here and I will close the survey. Once I close the survey, you'll see the link goes away. What that also does is it sends me an email, and when I get it, I will go ahead and take a look at the data, make sure everything's good, and publish it as a PDF, which you will see down here. It usually takes, within a couple days, you'll see that PDF show up, and I'll also email you and let you know. Here is a copy of the report you will receive. It's 4 pages. The first page tells you who took the survey. The second page is just a summary. This is an average of each of those items for everyone who filled it out. And this is the average score of across all of them together. Now remember, all those items were on a scale from 1 to 5. 1 is not good and 5 is excellent. 3 is okay. So you want to be 4 or better. But the real interesting thing that happens when you have conversation around why everybody scored it the way they did. And that's where the next 2 pages come in. It shows you how many people gave which score from 1 to 5. Because frankly, there's 2 different ways to get to an average score of 3. You can have most people say 3 or thereabouts, or you can have half the people say 1 and half the people say 5. Which way you went is going to create a really different discussion in your congregation. So do take a look at these pages and talk about them. You can use the discussion guide I pointed to you before to guide that conversation. Now you can save this or you can print it out. I'm going to go ahead and go back right now. Let me show you a couple other features of the website. Okay, actually, go back home, sorry. Okay, so from this website, you can see there's also a place for synods to sign in. Synods actually have access to a more detailed survey because remember, you're only asking these short 15 questions that describe the congregation and its relationships to God, each other, and the world from the perspective of the people in the congregation. What you haven't asked is anything about the people themselves. There is a more detailed survey over here. You can see a sample report and the survey items that ask the people to describe themselves and their own experiences and also the kinds of activities they're doing. We found it's really helpful to get this more detailed information for congregations who are in the middle of a strategic planning process or a transition process and they want to know more about what's going on. So feel free to take a look at these samples, and if this is something you're interested in, contact your synod's office, specifically your director for evangelical mission, and they can get you set up. But there is a charge for this particular survey because it takes a lot more work. Meanwhile, up here, like I said, there's other resources. Once you've completed the survey and you want to know what's next, you can take a look at this checkup. It will help you think about what stage you are in your congregation's life and what some important steps and potential pitfalls are for you. There's also additional information under shared learnings, and all of these pages are constantly being updated and added to be more helpful to you. So I hope that you have enjoyed the video, and may God bless your congregation as you move forward and have fruitful conversations.